there, friends. Kevin here from the Chord Progression Podcast, the podcast inspiring young rock metal fans to discover new music and find a place they can connect and feel accepted. On this little clip that we're going to go and take a look at, we are with Devin from the band Honey Revenge, and we look to answer the question, why as artists evolve, do people stay angry at them? We know plenty of artists that evolve their sound over time, so why do people stay so angry at them over time? Devin and I talked about this on the podcast, so make sure you go check out this clip. Make sure you hit the like button down there to make sure you push this video in the algorithm. Helps us out. Thank you very much. And if you like all this stuff, hit that subscribe button right here to help support the podcast and make sure you know about all the great bands that are coming up in the music scene in rock and metal today. So without further ado, let's go check it out.
People want to be so mad that bands like Bring Me didn't stay heavy. It's like a tale as old as time. Like, people are like, I miss the old Paramore. Like, I miss... It's like they haven't... Bands like those two have not done what people considered the old them in over 10 years. Like, they haven't been putting out music like that since the mid-2000s. Like, you don't miss that band. You miss this band that you created was going to be like that. Like, that's a time capsule. Like, go listen to those albums if you miss that. There's so many bands that sound just like that now that are trying to, like, you know, bring back the old scene. Go listen to them. Go support some new artists. Like, that's what pisses me off is, like, people that want to say stuff like that about these, you know, legacy acts or who will be legacy acts, I'm sure, in the future. Like, what are you doing for the music scene besides holding it back at that point? You know, like, bands like Paris, I think, are also a really good example of bands that started off in that Warped Tour adjacent scene, and now they're, like, massive, and they've done so much more. Like, they're still putting out current, modern, creative ass music, and it's so cool to watch them just, like, explode. Like, they went on tour with, like, 30 Seconds to Mars. They're, like, doing these huge tours, like, with MGK and shit. Like, they are becoming mainstream, but still they sound like them. Like, they've stayed true to who they are. They've just grown. Like, you can never expect anyone to stay the same. I think that's a lot of what our record talks about too, is like when you're in your early 20s, late teens, like kind of turning into a real ass person, like it's growing pains, not just because it's hard to grow up, but like because it's hard to not want things to stay the same when they're comfortable. Like, I get that. Like, when things are comfortable and make you feel good, like, it's hard to break away from that. But I think I saw something recently that's like, if it's not scary, like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, all of the newest, coolest things that are going to bring you to new points in your life are kind of scary. Like, it's not easy to jump into something like that.
Alrighty, so that one I have to absolutely applaud Devin on for how she put that out there and how it was presented. So when we take a look at artists like Bring Me the Horizon, we take a look at artists like Paramore, and we take a look at what Paris is doing. Over the course of time, you know, they have changed their sound. They're not the same bands they were when they first started out, like Paris in the Warped Tour scene, Paramore back in the mid-2000s, or Bring Me the Horizon, like with Count Your Blessings and Pray for Plagues. They're not the same bands anymore, and we can't expect them to be the same bands anymore. And I think Devin put it great. I'm going to expand on it. When Devin said, you know, it's not that the fact that it's like you kept this idea of this artist in your head in this time capsule. That's what we do as humans, and that's what we love to, because when we listen to those artists, when you listen to your favorite artists, like maybe when you were 14, 15 years old, they had such a heavy impact on you, and you connect with the music in such a heavily, positively impactful, emotional way that you only want to hear that sound. And as the band continues to change and evolve over time, much like us as humans change and evolve over time, you know, their sounds are going to end up being a little bit different because they're going to be influenced by different things. What they've gone through in life, their experiences are going to have them connect emotionally with different sounds and different styles. Take a look at Asking Alexandria. They're not playing that heavy metalcore style anymore. They're playing more of this alt metal hard rock style, but that's because that's what they connect with. They're not connected with the heavy style anymore now that they're, you know, 13, 14 years removed from that. They're family men, they're dads now, they're husbands. They have a different connection to the sounds that they are influenced by today versus what they were influenced by back in 2009 with Not the American Average. On top of that, us as fans, you know, we have to understand that those artists will change, and we can either grow with them, or if we don't like the direction that they're going, there are plenty of other bands out there in the scene right now that could absolutely use your support that are making music just like that. Think about that for a second. What if you could find a band that is just starting out and could help them become one of the biggest bands in the world, and they're a sound that you absolutely love and connect with because you connected with a band like Bring Me the Horizon back in 2007 and 2008, or with Paramore back when they came out with Misery Business off the Riot album. Just imagine what you could do to help out these artists. It is fantastic. Myself, do I still love Rise Against and a lot of stuff they put out? Absolutely I do. Did I like what they did in 2014 with The Black Market? Not my favorite album, but I love the trajectory that they've gone on. Other bands that I used to really like Disturbed, I'm not as into Disturbed anymore because of the way their sound kind of changed a little bit and the way my perception as a human changed and my taste changed. But I still enjoy their older stuff. So if I want to go back to the Indestructible album, of course I'm going to go back to it. I mean, I love metalcore now, and I know maybe in about 10 years, some of the stuff some of my favorite bands are coming out with, like Bring Me the Horizon, like Ice Nine Kills, like We Came as Romans, like Falling in Reverse, Motions like Beartooth, For Mash New. They might not be putting out stuff that I'm particularly fond of, and that's okay. That's okay. The music scene is so vast. You can check out so many new bands, and it again reflects on the fact that us as humans, us as people, are constantly changing. These bands are made up of people. They're made up of humans, and they're constantly changing as well. So understanding that is going to help us understand that if you like the way a band is progressing, keep following them. If you don't like the way they're progressing, you still have their older stuff you can go back to, or you can go support a band that's making that same sound, a similar sound that you really connect with, that's trying to come up in the scene. But if you're going to continue to bash a band for growing and for them to connect with their own personal style of things, then you're just not really helping anybody out at that point. So focus in on your positives. Don't focus in on things that are making you negative. It's just going to bring down the music scene as a whole. So I want to thank Devin for bringing up that point. If you want to make sure you check out the whole entire episode of the podcast with Devin from Honey Revenge, click the link in the description of this episode that says find the full-length episode here. Make sure you are also checking out the audio version if you like that a little bit better. We have links for Spotify, Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Amazon in the description of the podcast as well. Make sure you're hitting like on the video if you like it. Subscribe if you are enjoying this and are wanting to become more of the Chord Progression Podcast family, and join a fine place to discover new rock and metal music, find a place to connect and feel accepted. Put in the comments below what you thought about this topic. I'd love to hear what you had to say. On that note, thank you very much. This is Kevin, and as always, I'm out!